Hey everybody, it's Gio from Microsoft at Florida International University, and today is January 5th, 2014. It's 10:11 a.m., and in this video I'm going to show you comments and groups. So these are what I consider an advanced feature of Construct because they're not necessary. However, upon implementing them, your game can either become easier or harder to interpret. So this is all done on the developer end, and it really has no effect whatsoever on the game end. So this is just for best practices, making sure your code looks organized, neat, and if you're working with another person, it may allow them to get into your project faster and understand it. So ideally, what I've done is I've put every important component of the game into a group. And what groups do is they pretty much just allow you to categorize certain things. You put a label on, certain features. So initialization is one of my groups, and I have a little summary for it. It says when the game begins, this happens. So inside of initialization, I have an event called onStartOfLayout, which makes sense, right? Because when the game starts, this logic happens. So I also commented above it, and that says, do this, do that, and I do whatever logic, right? Now I also have an input group, and this generally handles, when I press buttons, etc. And this input is also well grouped because it clearly defines what's happening and when it gets activated. So this is much more organized than just a game without appropriate grouping, because if you see certain Construct 2 projects, they may have 400 events, right? Let's say you open up a project with 400 events. If there was no documentation and not like, let's say there was comments, but let's say there was no grouping. If there was no grouping, you may just be going through a nightmare in its own, trying to understand that project. And grouping simplifies that. Comments also help because in every programming language, documentation allows you to quickly get information to the other person without them having to, catch up and start from scratch like you did when you wrote that code. So, anyways, everything in here is grouped and documented, and I just did that to show you, how it works. So there's an endgame group, which pretty much handles, what happens when it's game over, and then there's an escape sequence group, and this is pretty much for when I press the escape button. That's it. So I just overdid these groups, but I made them really simple so you understand them completely. Now, we have menu code that has nothing at the moment, and we're going to add a group to it to make more sense of it, right? So what group would you classify this under? I would classify it under input, and I would just write some crap, like, handles, input logic. And this is kind of enigmatic, but it just gets to the point for now. And now I can just drag these events into there, and that's it. But I'm not done, right? I need to add comments for this group. Well, for the events inside of this group. So I'm gonna say that when clicked, go to respective world. Okay, cool. So this comment pretty much says when you click this button, it takes you to here, and that's it. And that's generally how you use comments and groups. This is a very simple case, but you generally just try to explain what's going on in your game, and you organize it so people don't have trouble looking through your code. That's it. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks.